Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the details of how the president's executive action on immigration will be implemented. And it's time again for our regular visit with Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The director of the Phoenix Veterans Hospital has been fired. The VA says that it dismissed Sharon Hellman over delays in patient care and for falsifying appointment records to cover up those delays. Hellman had been put on administrative leave 7 months ago after allegations that 40 patients had died while waiting for treatment at the Phoenix Veterans Hospital. And the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals today turned down Governor Brewer's request for another hearing on her policy denying driver's licenses to young immigrants who have been given deferred deportation. Now, this past summer, a 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit decided that there was no legitimate reason to treat the young illegal immigrants differently than other non-citizens who were allowed driver's licenses in Arizona. The governor wanted the Ninth Circuit to hear the case again, this time before a full 15-judge panel, but that request was denied. President Obama issued an executive action last week that suspends deportation for some 5 million illegal immigrants. Here to discuss what exactly the action does is Phoenix immigration attorney Regina Jeffries. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
So what exactly did the executive action do?
Well, it did quite a lot of things, actually. One of the most obviously known thing is that it did extend the deferred action program to more individuals who were brought here as children who had been present in the U.S. since they were under 16 years old. What it essentially did was remove the age cap for those individuals. So previously, individuals who were under 31 at the time of the 2012 order were able to apply. That age cap was removed. It also expanded the deferred action program to include parents of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents who don't have any serious criminal histories and who otherwise go through background checks and are vetted. That's one of the major points that most people have been talking about, but it also sort of reprioritized who the administration, who the executive is going to go after for deportation. That's another major point. It essentially said that individuals with felony convictions, aggravated felonies, multiple misdemeanors that are serious, those types of individuals will be an enforcement priority for the executive because of the executive's limited resources. So there will be more of a focus on those individuals and less of a focus on individuals that are perhaps driving without a driver's license or something.
I want to get to those prioritizations in a second here, but back to the folks that you had mentioned initially. Now again, this is just deferring deportations for 3 years. It's a temporary situation, correct?
That's absolutely correct. It's temporary. It's something that can be reversed at any time. For example, if someone committed a crime that would disqualify them or make them a priority for enforcement, that deferred action could be taken away from them. So it's by no means any grant of legal status. It is authorization to remain in the U.S. and to work in the U.S. While we all wait for Congress to do something about the immigration system. But it is a temporary program.
And according to what the president wants to do now, after this 3-year span is over, eligibility to renew for another 3 years exists, or is that just the idea?
That is the idea, but of course we'll have a new president by that time, and so it remains to be seen. I mean, of course, each executive has the authority to prioritize and to make regulations and rules to enforce the statutes that are on the books, and so a new president would be able to reprioritize if they thought necessary.
Okay, so these folks that have been in the U.S. for 5+ years, they passed the background check, no serious felony convictions, parent of a U.S. citizen or legal, all these folks that you had mentioned, correct. What do they do next?
They wait. The most important thing right now is for people to know that these processes and procedures to apply for deferred action don't yet exist. For individuals that might be eligible under the expanded childhood arrivals deferred action program, so individuals that might have been over 31 when the last program was announced, for those individuals, a new process will be announced hopefully within about 90 days of November 20th. For parents of U.S. citizens and permanent residents, it will be more along the lines of 180 days. So the most important thing right now is to know that you are not able to apply at the moment and to educate yourself about what the requirements are. And then to prepare for the eventual implementation.
Do you think that those who qualify will come out of the shadows?
I think that based on what we've seen in the past with the prior deferred action program, that a large number of people will come forward. What's really interesting is that in the past, with the past deferred action program, so many people did come forward and seek legal advice about their situation, whether they qualified, and found out that they actually might qualify for some other type of relief. So I think that what we'll see is certainly a large number of people coming forward to get legal advice to find out if they qualify for this program or potentially other legal programs. And so I think that there will be a huge response because it's something people have been waiting for such a long time.
What about families? And I know the President said he wanted to concentrate on keeping families to get focus on felons and not families.
Right.
But if you have to be here for 5+ years, what if some members of the family haven't been here for 5+ years? Some have.
Right.
How does that work?
That happens a lot. I mean, a lot of times we see family members in completely different situations. If they haven't had that continuous presence since the date that the President gave or the executive gave in the memorandum that was issued, then they wouldn't qualify for this deferred action at the moment. So they may have to wait for Congress to do something.
And parents of Dreamers, where do they fit in all this?
So they don't actually fit in to this unless they have a child who's a citizen or a resident. So they actually were not included in the executive action. And that's been a big bone of contention because there are so many people that fall into that category.
Again, more focus to deport felony convictions, those convicted of felonies. There's also seems to be a streamlining of the visa application process and trying to get folks that I guess have a place here or can contribute here to start contributing. How does that work?
That's absolutely right. So each year, the Department of State is supposed to issue a number of visas to individuals that qualify for those visas. And the way that it's done, it's based on numbers that Congress set back in 1990. They set these, actually what are now really low numbers based on demand. So they're not really tied to any demand. And so what the Department of State has done in the past is they've issued visas, but in a way that's actually let a lot of visas go to waste each year, where people would actually qualify. And the problem is that you have so many people that qualify through work or employment that would qualify for these types of visas that we really need people here to fill like science, technology, and investment positions that they're not able to do because these visas are going to waste. So part of what's happening with this is a streamlining of that system to ensure that those visas that should be available don't go to waste and they're actually used for what they're intended.
And again, this makes it easier for entrepreneurs and job creators, those sorts of folks. You educate them and they leave. The idea is find a spot for them here.
That's right.
So what are you telling people right now that are coming to see you and saying, I don't understand, I don't know what I'm supposed to do? What are you hearing and what are you saying?
Well, we're hearing people with a lot of questions and, what does this mean? And there's so much information out there, and what is so critically important is that people get individualized information about their own situation. You can't generalize something like this because it is such an individual review that you have to conduct of a person's case. So what I would do is have someone come in, I'd take a look and see if they would actually qualify under any of the programs that were announced and any of the expansions of the programs, and whether they would qualify under any existing path to legal status as well. So that's something that I would do, and I would tell people to kind of watch and wait, be patient, get the information that you need.
And real quickly, we have about a minute left here. As far as driver's licenses for Dreamers, we heard the Ninth Circuit today saying no thanks. Your thoughts?
That's right. Well, this is something we've been telling Governor Brewer for about 2 years, and I don't know if she'll get the message with this last order from the Ninth Circuit, but they've basically said that the governor's policy of denying driver's licenses to Dreamers who are lawfully authorized to work in the U.S. and authorized to be here is likely unconstitutional. And so the injunction against that policy should go into effect.
And if real quickly, will you tell folks now how long before those dreamers can get driver's licenses?
It will depend on whether the governor decides to seek cert.
To appeal, yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, lots of stuff to go over there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton joins us each month to talk about the issues facing Arizona's biggest city, like, for example, the current controversy surrounding Police Chief Daniel Garcia. Here now is Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton. Good to have you here.
Good to see you, Ted. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the situation. The police unions, no confidence in the chief. Your thoughts?
Well, the police union on the issue of PTSD and better support for officers, which really has been the impetus for the concern that they have raised in a very public way, I actually think they're onto something. I actually think that they sent a very detailed letter to myself and the city manager asking that we look into that situation involving Officer Tiger and whether or not our policies and procedures were strong enough in terms of supporting our police officers, many of whom, because of the traumatic experiences that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, do experience PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury, and whether or not we're doing enough. And I think, we've learned so much as a society from our military veterans who have come home from combat situations and have PTSI, and we're doing a better job. We didn't do a good job for a long time as a society. Now we're doing a much better job. And I think we as a city need to learn those lessons and better apply them to support our police officers and firefighters. So the issue that the union has brought up most recently, and I work with those officers very, very closely, they brought up some very important issues, and I told the city manager it's something we ought to work on, and we have put together a very important task force, including representatives of Phoenix Law Enforcement Association, including representatives of firefighters, to make sure that we have the very best policies and procedures in place to support our police officers, firefighters that deal very often in traumatic situations.
With that in mind, do you think Chief Garcia handled the situation properly?
Well, I think we need to look at that, examine it, and see if we can improve upon it. Look, the chief has taken a position on discipline in which he wants to make sure that he has instilled as much discipline in the force itself. And I think in leadership, anytime that there's no flexibility in your policies, you don't take a look at the context under which decisions are made, that sometimes the right result doesn't always occur. I don't want to look back at a decision and say he made this right decision, that wrong decision. I want to look forward and say, are we doing all we can moving forward to better support our police officers and firefighters? And I think we can learn a lot of lessons from the very, very tragic circumstances involving Officer Tiger's death about how we can better support our police officers and firefighters. Officer Tiger was a hero in my mind. He served the citizens of Phoenix very, very well. He dealt with a very, very difficult personal circumstance and PTSI. And I think we can do better in the future, and I think we will do better in the future, and that's exactly the lesson that we're going to learn. And a great city, great leaders always try to look in the mirror and say, how can we do better moving forward?
One of the chief's quotes was that no officer can stand behind mental health issues or substance abuse issues as a defense on criminal violations. Do you agree with that statement?
Look, again, I don't think we should ever take in a position that one side always applies or the other side always applies. Good leaders always look at the context under which decisions are made. Look at the context and the circumstances before making the decision. So on that particular issue, I would just say that great leaders should always look at the total circumstances before making a final determination. And I know moving forward, I think we as a city, not just our police chief, but we as a city are going to do better moving forward.
Do you think Chief Garcia is a great leader?
Well, I think the chief has come in and has been a good leader of the department during the time that he has been there. I think every leader, myself included, always needs to say, how can we improve? What can we change about our own styles? Can we be more collaborative, for example? You got to make sure that you're working with not only the law enforcement officers in this case through their labor organizations, PPLSA, which represents the sergeant lieutenants, PLE, which represents our rank and file, and the community as a whole, and always say, can I be doing a better job? But I think the department, the chief, is going to be going through that process. And oh, by the way, we should all be going through that process. There should always be a constant sense of self-improvement and doing better. Nobody in our city or in our community should sort of rest on any laurels. We always have to be looking forward and saying, let's do better in the future.
You know, if in a sideways angles here, there are some that are concerned that the Officer Tiger returned to duty after reports of drinking and depression. I mean, does that concern you?
Well, look, we are a big city. We have a very large police department. We have 14,000 city employees. Many of those employees may be going through challenges in their lives. In some cases, the challenges are brought on because of circumstances, traumatic circumstances that they've experienced while on duty as a police officer or firefighter or other city employees. It's the reason why we have to be looking in ourselves and saying, can we do even more to support our officers? Meaning, do we have the right services to help our employees that are going through challenging situations? Are people around our officers better trained to get the signals that maybe a police officer is going through a very, very difficult and challenging time in our lives? We want to provide support for our police officers, support for our firefighters, support for our city employees. So I don't want to cast a judgment on any city employee. The question I want to ask is, how can we do more to be supportive? Because they provide great service to the people of this city. How can we be more supportive moving forward?
But just by simply asking the question, some would say, and some have argued, that the city turned, and the chief in particular, but the city in general, turned backs to Officer Tiger, turned their backs to Officer Tiger, I think has been the quote. How do you respond to that?
I just think with regard to Officer Tiger, again, he was an officer who served the citizens of Phoenix well. He had some incredible challenges in his life. We all at various times have challenges in our lives. The question is, what can we as a city do moving forward to better see the signs that someone may be going through difficult circumstances? Not only supervisors, but coworkers. And that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but just the opposite. But asking for help is only part of it. We need to make sure that we as a city are providing the help that they need. My goal in a situation with an officer that is going through a difficult time is to get him or her the support that they need and get them back out on the streets where they can go on and help the citizens of the city of Phoenix. That's the question that I want to ask moving forward.
One member of the City Council says that Chief Garcia should be fired. Do you believe Chief Garcia should be fired?
Well, I would recommend to all members of the City Council to very closely review our charter, because if you're aware of the legal requirements of our charter, the one person that can actually hire and fire within our city system is the city manager. It is not appropriate for the mayor or individual members of the council to either advocate for the hiring of a particular person or the termination of a particular person. That is in our charter, which is like the constitution of our city. And we have to be the law applies to us. We are not above the law. We are not, as elected officials, including the mayor, we are not above the charter under which we are governed. I will follow the charter, which means that I have hired a great city manager named Ed Zerker, and Ed Zerker is the person under our charter who makes personnel decisions, and it's not appropriate for me to say that any particular person, whether it be the police chief or any line employee, should be hired or fired. That is our form of government under which we operate in the city of Phoenix.
Is it safe to say that it might be time to consider changes? Other changes, any changes, you name the changes to the department.
Well, I think that's the exact process that we are going through right now. This, as you know, the city manager, at my request, and I'm sure other members of the council request, asked that we look at this issue about providing better support for our police officers and firefighters, particularly those that have dealt with traumatic circumstances. The particular issue that has created a lot of the discussion about the department, the facts surrounding Officer Tiger's tragic death, and the questions that are still being asked about that. Those are all good questions, fair questions. We as a city have to answer those questions in the right way, and I believe that we will answer them the right way. And what I mean by that is we will improve our systems to better support police officers and firefighters in the city of Phoenix.
Last question on this. Is it safe to say that you are concerned that so many rank and file police officers are upset with the chief of police?
Yes. Look, I believe that that I want my police officers, my firefighters, all the employees of the city of Phoenix, I know to provide the very best work product, if you will, that you can. Having confidence in management is important, and we need to work hard to make sure that we, first and foremost, have the trust of the community, the citizens of this city, but also to have the trust of city employees, including and especially police officers and firefighters. That being said, I want to make sure I don't leave this portion of the interview without something very specific being said, and that is, I know those police officers, I know our firefighters. No matter how any individual police officer may feel about the chief, the city manager, or myself, they are still going to go out on the street and perform services at the very highest level. These are incredible professionals. So I don't want anyone watching at home to think that because there's some turbulence within our police department, that will in any way result in less than the very best police services on the streets to the people of the city of Phoenix. We have the best police department in the country. We are blessed with that, and that's not going to change just because there's a little bit of turbulence between the rank and file officers and our chief right now.
All right, before I let you go, one more thing here, this parking situation downtown. What's going on? A lot of folks are grumbling about this. Some folks aren't grumbling quite as I guess some folks are probably happy with it, some of these businesses, but everyone's a little confused and everyone's got a little bit of a gripe. What's going on with parking?
Well, there have been some changes with regard to our policy and in downtown parking. Look, you could imagine if you're a small business and you have a few spots on the street in front of you, maybe you're a restaurant, a pizza place, something like that, and there is a big sporting event going on downtown, and someone has a choice whether to pay 20 or 30 bucks in a parking lot or to park for free in front of your business, you know what choice they're going to make, and you know what devastating impact that would have on that local small business. So the city of Phoenix adopted what can best be described as market rate pricing for downtown parking. I know that because on some nights we're going to charge a lot more money for downtown parking. If Paul McCartney is playing at US Airways Arena, the public parking spots around the arena are probably going to be a little more expensive than on nights where there's no activity going on at US Airways Arena. But the other thing that people should know is that in many cases the price is going to go down, right? Because of the technology, the static technology that we had in place, it was $1.50 only. Well, now because we have these credit card machines, the price can be changed based upon the level of activity in downtown. And in many cases, if it's a slow night, instead of charging $1.50, the price is going to go down to 75 cents per hour. So the concept is to engage in market rate pricing, which will better support the small businesses who get hurt if people park for too long. And by the way, the City Council just approved cell phone payment, which means that instead of, if your meter runs out, instead of having to leave the restaurant in order to feed the meter, you're going to be able to do it via telephone. So the technology is really going to, it has advanced, and it's going to make it a lot more convenient.
And real quickly on this, though, that it sounds a little uncertain. If I'm going to pick up a pizza, I don't know how much, I don't know if Paul McCartney's playing over there. How do you make that certainty there for the customers and for the businesses? Because again, some businesses say, I don't care that Paul McCartney's paying, my customers don't want to pay that extra price.
Well, it is true. Look, in a perfect world, we would make parking free or as close to free as possible. But that if you're going to pick up that pizza from that restaurant, you want to make sure that there's a spot there that's available in front of your restaurant. If it's taken up all night, that customer is probably going to take his or her business someplace else. So there is never a puzzle, if you will, probably more complicated than getting downtown parking right. As mayor, and I think the majority of the council, we want to do what we can to better support local small business in the downtown area. And that's exactly what going to market rate pricing was all about. It has been done very successfully in other cities. It is a little confusing at first, but in terms of getting the turnover so the small businesses can better succeed and get their customers to them, I think it's the right direction to go in.
And market rate has started, will start?
Yeah, so we have started the extended hours, and that for a long time we just did kind of an education effort. But no, that policy is beginning right now at the City of Phoenix with technology, by the way, with the ability to use your cell phone. In the very near future, not only will you be able to pay with your phone, but you'll be able to get a lot more information about the availability of
Find out if Paul
spots.
McCartney's playing or not.
Exactly, and
All
so
right.
before you head downtown, you'll be able to know what the cost of parking is. And so again, I think market rate is the right strategy for the city.
Mayor, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
As always, thank you, Ted.
We want to hear from you. Submit your questions, comments, and concerns via email at arizonahorizon@asu.edu.
And Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll talk about the legal issues involved with President Obama's executive action on immigration, and we'll hear about a new education program that teaches high school students how to refurbish computers. It's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.